So I am installing the Tail Vise on my workbench. This is a Lee Valley Veritas Tail Vise, quick release. It's a nice piece of equipment. I'm reading through the instructions, so I'm doing everything the way that I'm supposed to. The original design with this is that you're meant to be creating a bench that has an apron that you add after you add the tail vise. So the tail vise is going to be this big old chunker of wood. It fits into this space. It attaches to this mechanism that's going to be here, and it's going to slide back and forth, and it will pinch material between these surfaces. And also there will be like a series of dog holes in the top of this and in the top of the bench. And what that means is that once it's all created, you'll be able to hold very large pieces flat on the bench. I have got essentially what's going to be the jaw that I've built here. And that's all well and good, except that the design for this vise is that you would install it all here first on a flat bench, and then you would install an apron that would abut it, right? Now I had already built my bench top, so what I did instead is I cut out the negative space where the bench, where the tail vise and the jaw was going to fit. Now the problem that I'm running into is that, so this is the underside of the bench, and I've attached the mounting plate, and the vise, which is pretty hefty, so admire my muscles for picking this up, is supposed to align with these holes here. Yeah, like this. Now the problem is the jaw, this guy, is supposed to mount onto the sides of these points, vaguely here. Then I'm gonna have this much of a gap. Because I meant to mount that, put it all in, put it together, and then just create another piece of wood that would abut it from the front so that I don't have to worry about that gap. So I'm doing things a little bit retrofitty. What I'm thinking is that I just need to set this up far enough this way that when the jaw is attached, it fits between those mounting points and it fits into the bench, which it does here. So I've marked out these two little ticks as center points for where I think that this needs to line up. And I'm going to go back and re-drill the holes for this mounting plate and shift the whole thing this way just by this much. So this hole will align with this point. The problems that I could see having is possibly having issues with the swing of the handle, but it seems fine. Like the handle will be through. This is it maxed out. That's as far as it goes, and the handle will be here. So the end of the bench is still here. You're not gonna like run your hand into it. I guess at that point, the quick release switch is at the very extreme. It's like a little bit under the edge of the table, but I don't see that being a problem. So yeah, I'm gonna give it a shot and see if I shoot myself in the foot here or if I am a genius. Answers to come. So while you're watching me drill some pilot holes, I will address the obvious question that you might ask as to why it is that I'm installing the vises in a bench that I have not yet installed legs in. And the answer actually is very logical. There's all this joinery that I need to do on the legs, and it's going to be a lot easier for me to do it if I've got a vise to hold it. So I built the bench top. Now I'm installing the vises, and I'm going to use those vises in the bench top sitting still on sawhorses so that I can use them for work holding while I do the joinery in the ends of the legs. So at this point, I've got the bushings in. I've got it bolted onto the table, and I'm just going to install the handle, and we'll have a look and see in a moment how well it swings. So I've turned over my table, which is actually one of the advantages I'm finding with having added my vises. Now my table's even heavier, which is awesome. I'm excited about that. So now we get the moment of truth where I get to find out if this guy's actually going to work, even with the modifications that I made. So let's give it a little swing. Seems to be traveling fine, no binding, no issues. Let's try the quick release. That's pretty smooth. Okay. I'm declaring this a win. Thanks so much for checking out my video, folks. I hope you enjoyed it. A huge shout out to all of my patrons from Patreon. If you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, and share.